Hello friends, welcome to Knowledge House. Right now we'll be analyzing the Hindu newspaper dated 27th of July. So as usual, we'll be giving more importance to articles from a UPSC civil service exams point of view. So I welcome you all to this video. Let's start. So the first article we are going to analyze is regarding important development in Pakistan. So Imran Khan will be soon swearing in as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So in his media address, he expressed his concerns regarding bilateral issues between between India and Pakistan. So in that address, he expressed that Pakistan is ready to improve its ties with India, and his government would like the leaders of the two sides to resolve all disputes, including the core issue of Kashmir. So, quoting his words, if they take one step towards us, we will take two, but at least we need the start. And I am a person who arguably knows the most people in India because of my days in cricket. We can resolve the poverty crisis in South Asia, the biggest problem in Kashmir. So these are words to be noted. Anyway, let's hope that the things are going to improve. But there is another dimension to this particular view, which we will be looking into in the later part of this analysis. So let's move on to the next article. It is regarding the Doklam crisis. So yesterday we noticed that China has gone one step ahead of India by engaging with Bhutan. So, responding to comments by the US official during a congressional hearing that China has quietly resumed its activities in Doklam area, India said on Thursday that there was no change in the status quo since the standoff with China that ended in August 2017. So, the Ministry of External Affairs has also made a comment that since the disengagement of the disengagement of Indian and the Chinese border personnel in Doklam on August of 2017, there has been no development at the face of site and its vicinity. So that is all about this particular article. So please remember, China has gone ahead of India by engaging with Bhutan. So that's all about this particular article. Moving on to the next one, it is regarding a renaming. West Bengal renames itself as Bangla. So West Bengal Assembly on Thursday passed a resolution to change the name of the state as Bangla in three languages, namely Bengali, English, and Hindi. So anyway, I have very briefly mentioned how the renaming of a state is done. So this particular box relates to how the process goes on when the process is initiated by the state, and the other one and this box refers to the process when the same process is initiated by the center. So anyway, let's have a glance at that. So the state assembly would, when the process is initiated by the state assembly would first pass a resolution for such a change, and this passed resolution would be sent to the central government. So without the central government part, state government cannot itself change the name of a particular state. So the central government will create a bill, and this bill will be sent back to the state legislature to express its views in a stipulated time. So the state legislature will need to give its views within its time as fixed by the President of India. Once this time is expired, the President will recommend to introduce that bill in the Parliament. So once introduced, the bill will be passed and the President would give the assent. Thus, the name of the state would be changed. So the example of such a change in the name of Odisha was through this process. And there is another part for the same process, that is one when the process is initiated by the central government. So Article 3, it should be noted here, Article 3 empowers the Parliament to make changes in the area, boundary, territory and name of the state, even if such proposal does not come from the concerned state. For this purpose, the central government can simply get a bill passed in the Parliament. However, the Constitution mandates that whenever such a thing needs to be done, the state must be given an opportunity to express its views. So thus the central government will create a bill. The bill can be introduced in the Parliament only by the recommendation of the President. Before making such a recommendation, President would send the bill to the concerned state legislator and give it a fixed time to express its views on the matter. However, the state's view does not have any actual impact on the fate of the bill. So I hope the whole process is clear. So let's move on to the next article. The Magsaysay Award winners have been declared. So it's a pride moment once again for India. So Sonam Wangchuk is a 51-year-old education reformer based in Ladakh, widely regarded as the inspiration for Amir Khan's character in Funsuk Wangadu in the movie Three Idiots, is one of the two Indians named for 2018 Ramon Magsaysay Awards. The other uh, the other Indian is Bharat Wadhwani, a psychiatrist who works for the mentally ill street people in Mumbai. So Mr. Wangchuk and Mr. Watwani are among the six winners of the award, which celebrates the greatness of the spirit and transformative leadership of Asia. So that's all about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. It is regarding the Supreme Court's comment on the Taj document. So the Supreme Court on Thursday came down heavily on the UP government for its draft report on the vision document for the protection of Taj Mahal without consulting the Archaeological Survey of India, which is tasked with protecting this moment. So anyway, the important part to be noted here is the important term to be noted here is called Taj trapezium zone. So what exactly this is? What exactly is Taj trapezium zone? Let's see that. So this is a zone that covers around something like 400 kilometers within the vicinity of Taj Mahal, which consists of three major three major World Heritage Sites. So they are Taj Mahal, there is Fatehpur Sikri, and there is another important monument which I'll be commenting on later part of this article. So that's all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the H1B visa. So India to raise H1B visa with the US. So that's the title of this article. What exactly is this H1B visa? So this is a non-immigrant visa that allows companies to employ foreigners for a period of up to 6 years. The visa is aimed at helping companies employ foreigners in positions for which they have been unable to find American employees. This is an important part and I'll be repeating it again. This visa is aimed at helping companies employ foreigners in position for which they have been unable to find American employees. The minimum salary for an employee holding an H1B visa is set at $60,000. So H1B visa holders are allowed to apply for a permanent residency in the US as well as buy and sell property in the country. So why is this program criticized? Aim of the H1B visa program was to supplement the US workforce with highly skilled workers to do jobs that Americans are not skilled to and not to replace the US workers. But over time, there has been many grumblings that many companies use the H1B visa to replace American workers with foreign ones, as the latter can be hired at lower salaries without compromising on the skill set. In the same cases, American employees have alleged that they were meant to train H1B visa holders to do down their jobs and they get fired. So what is this particular bill or the bill that was passed in the US Senate? What exactly does that refer to? So the new H1B visa reform bill proposes a radical overhaul of the process, increasing the minimum salary for visa holders to $1,30,000. So again, this would mean the H1B visa bill removes the per country cap for employment-based immigrant visas. I'll repeat it once again. The H1B visa bill removes the per country cap, that is per country cap for employment-based immigrant visas. It sets aside 20% of the annual H1B visa for small companies and startup employers to ensure small business have an opportunity to compete for high skilled workers. So the bill also encouraged to recruit American workers. This provision would crack down on the outsourcing companies that import large number of H1B and L1 workers for short training periods and send these workers back to their home country to do the work of the Americans. So anyway, right now the Ministry of External Affairs has said that India will, or the Indian, the concerned ministry, that is the foreign ministry foreign ministry will continue, will try their level best to make sufficient changes so that Indian employees so the Indian companies won't get much impacted. So I have also mentioned what are the types of visas here, or types of visas that are that the US currently uses. So it's better to have a slight glance at it. There is no particular importance for that. It's just for an additional information that I have placed it. So let's move on to the next article. It is regarding the anti-trafficking bill. So uh, this is something that has to be, it takes a very important one. So the bill proposes establishing a national anti-trafficking bureau for coordinating and monitoring the trafficking cases. It also involves a relief and rehabilitation committee and rehabilitation fund with an initial allocation of 10 crore rupees. So let's have some additional information regarding the same. So as I mentioned before, the bill provides for the establishment of a national anti-trafficking bureau to investigate the cases. And under the bill, the state government also will have a state nodal officer who will be responsible for the follow-up action under the bill as per the instructions of the state anti-trafficking committee. So the bill also provides for setting up of a anti-trafficking unit at the district level. So there is a national level, district level, that is national level, state level, and district level. So and this anti-trafficking units ATUs will deal with the prevention, rescue, and protection of the victims and witnesses, and for the investigation and prosecution of trafficking offences. So the bill also provides for establishment of anti-trafficking relief and rehabilitation committees at the national, state, and district levels. So these are the things to be noted, very important from this point of view. So Kailash Satyarthi, who is a well-known child rights activist and a Nobel Prize winner, he once felt that he once expressed that the absence of a robust anti-trafficking law. So that is, he feels that in the absence of a robust anti-trafficking law, the state is failing to fulfill its duties under these laws and judgments. So it is abundantly clear that to be able to deliver justice to the most of the vulnerable survivors of trafficking, lawmakers must ensure that the speedy and unhindered passage of that particular bill. Anyway, the bill has been cleared by the concerned house. So despite such efficient, multiple bodies are created regarding the investigation, rehabilitation, and all part, but there are some various very solid criticisms regarding this particular bill. So it says that, such experts says that the bill is deeply flawed because it has not been preceded by any substantial research or analysis. Given that the National Human Rights Commission study is more than 15 years old and the new provision has been enacted in the IPC against human trafficking, the Ministry of Women and Child Development ought to have commissioned a review before embarking the legislative exercise. And the other criticism is that bill does not redefine trafficking but incorporates the existing definition under section 370 of the IPC. There is another criticism. The bill isn't a comprehensive plan to combat trafficking. It leaves out the prevention part and does not decriminalize prostituted women and does not have any adequate due process to punish the traffickers and has no punishment for sex buyers and has no earmarked budget for individualized exit strategies. This is very grounded, very well solid criticism. And instead of streamlining enforcement, anti-trafficking bill swells up the institutional bureaucracy by creating additional 10 different agencies, including the anti-trafficking officers, units, committees, and bureaus at district, state, and national levels to counter the problem, which is likely to result in a chaos. So the fundamental flaw with the bill is that it treats the victim of a human trafficking on par with an adult person in sex work. So the trafficking of a person into forced or coerced labor should not be equated with sex work undertaken by consenting adults. So even if the bill is meant to fulfill the purposes of Article 23 of the Constitution for protecting persons from exploitation and such forced labor, it cannot do so while violating the core protection mentioned in Article 19 and 21. And the key notions underlying the Article 21 are dignity and autonomy. By empowering authorities to place persons who are trafficked in custodial institutions without their consent, the bill hits out at the notion that individuals under the constitutional framework have autonomy in decision making. So these are the very solid criticisms against this particular bill. Anyway, let's move on to the next article. It is regarding the NRC once again. We have been reading about NRC for so long. So Nagaland may follow Assam in NRC update. So that's what this article says. Nagaland may be the next state in the northeast to update the 1951 National Register for Citizens after studying how the first kind of exercise in Assam pans out. So recently we read about a Brood tribe in Mizoram and all that. So very likely they will have some dimensions regarding this. So that's all about this particular article. So I think you remember when we analyze the Imran Khan's comment in the very first article in which he analyzed today. I said that there is a later dimension to it. So this is that particular thing. Policies on Kashmir terror may not change. That's what India's Minister for Power, R.K. Singh, has said. He was also a former Union Home Secretary. So he says that he doesn't see any change because, as far as terrorism and India are concerned, these policies are decided by the military. Pakistan's military has brought in someone who is a creation of military, and he will not oppose the position of the military as someone has tried to do in the past. So there is no doubt that this election has been rigged. That's what the union minister, that's a minister for power, has said. And anyway, let's see how things are going to evolve. So that's all about this particular article, and let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the trade war. So the US and the European Union agreed to ease trade tensions. So the US President Donald Trump and the European Commission chief Jean-Claude Juncker on Wednesday agreed to plan to defuse the festering trade dispute between the two major economies. So the outcome seemed a victory for Trump, who has assured all his supporters that the confrontational trade strategy would bear fruit, and who appears to have conceded little in its talks with European Union. So the Trump also won a commitment to work together to reform the World Trade Organization to address some of the complaints about China on theft of US technology and the behavior of state-owned enterprises and overcapacity of steel. So anyway, these are the important parts that are to be noticed in this article. Other ones are just, there is nothing so important in the other parts of this article. So let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the Trump administration tough on Russia. So this, at the first glance, it seemed to be a contradictory statement because we recently analyzed the bilateral meeting between US and Russia in Helsinki, and where we said that Trump was very much focused or very much keen on developing a personal relationship with Putin. So now Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of the State, told senators on Wednesday that Trump's administration has taken a truckload of punitive actions against Moscow as a proof that it is tough on Russia, as the White House walked back on invitation for the President Vladimir Putin to visit Washington this fall. So anyway, Trump administration has will not be cooperating with Russia to have a bilateral meeting in Washington. So that's what this article says. Anyway, there is another part that is important. It is regarding his statement about the North Korea. So let's see what he has said. So the outcome, and for the first time, Pompeo, that is the US State Secretary, acknowledged that North Korea is continuing to produce, I repeat, continuing to produce nuclear fuel for its weapon program, even as the administration claims that progress towards the goal of denuclearization. Anyway, there are a lot of contradictions and multiple statements, ambiguous things coming from the US, especially coming to its diplomatic relations. So anyway, let's wait and see how things are going to evolve. So right now, moving on to another article. Census category calls divide Britain's Sikh community. So anyway, let's look into this issue. That is, a heated debate has broken out within the Britain's Sikh diaspora and the wider South Asian community amid calls for Sikhism to be listed as a separate ethnicity in the national census, which is due to take place in 2021. But the supporters have been accused by some of running a divisive and an unrepresentative campaign. So last day we analyzed another similar development from Britain. It is regarding the Dalits, special category to the Dalits. Anyway, both of the House of Legislator has denied any such developments. And regarding this part also, let's see how things are going to evolve. Anyway, there is a clamor for a special, like for a separate ethnicity to be given in the national census. There is a clamor for that. So that's anyway, that only that part is important in this article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the Department of Telecom. That is, they have approved the Vodafone Idea merger. So, however, the approval comes with a condition that the merged entity will have to abide by the decisions of the Telecom Tribunal and the TDSAT, that is Telecom Disputes and Appeal Tribunal, and other various courts that deals with the similar issue. So that's all about this article. Moving on to the next one, it is regarding Alzheimer's drug that shows a promise. So for the first time in a large clinical trial, a drug was able to both reduce the plaques in the brains of patients and also slow the progression of dementia. So the most extensive trial will be, or more extensive trial will be needed to know if the drug is truly effective. Other drugs have shown early promise only to disappoint in the larger studies. But if the results presented on Wednesday at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference in Chicago are borne out, the drug may be the first to successfully attack both the brain changes and the symptoms of Alzheimer's. This is a really disappointing disease, and there are various global associations, especially the Melinda Gates Foundation. They are really keen on developing solutions to this particular disease. Anyway, let's hope that things will evolve positively. So, moving on to the next article, it is regarding another science and technology news. It is Einstein was right. Astronomers confirmed the key theory of relativity. So, the consortium of astronomers said on Thursday that they had for the first time confirmed a prediction of Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity by observing the gravitational effects of a supermassive black hole on a star zipping by it. So the black holes were so dense that the gravitational pull can trap even the light and making supermassive Sagittarius. That is, it is a star that is at least 4 million times that of our sun. It is making it the biggest in our galaxy. So the results are perfectly in line with the theory of general relativity and are a major breakthrough towards better understanding the effects of intense gravitational fields. And the research team, whose findings are published on Friday's issue of Astronomy and Astrophysics, says much more details into it. Anyway, let's not delve deep into it, because that's not necessary. We just have to swim across it. We don't have to go deep into it. So that's all about today's newspaper. I hope you all liked it. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and do share it with your friends. And you can log on to a blog for various kinds of PDFs. That is www.knowledgehouse.co, and you can also follow us on Telegram. And we'll be coming up with more interesting and compelling videos. So please hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day.